Hey, it's Chris, your private lending guy here, and in this video, I'm going to answer the question, how our private lending predictable cash flow program, how it's unique, and how it's better than anything you've probably seen before. Now, the answer to that question is the new method that I've been referring to, which we call the home matchmaker method. Now, this is a method that we have uniquely designed over the last several years from testing several different methods to figure out what works best when it comes to private lending. And I'm not just talking about small testing. We've tested over $5 million and counting through this method. Okay, so we know it not only works, but that it works extremely well. In fact, our method is built on the foundation of safety, security, and long-term cash flow. And I love the term cash flow. It's something that, I as an investor have been involved in for many years. In fact, the person who really coined the term and made it famous in today's world is Robert Kiyosaki. You may have heard of him. And one of my mentors, his name is John, he's been investing since the 80s, and he's one person who really taught me how to successfully set up and run the long-term cash flow model. Now, the cool thing about learning from John is that he's the guy who did all of Robert Kiyosaki's real estate for him behind the scenes. And thanks to John, Robert owns hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate, and as you can imagine, generates large sums of long-term cash flow every single month, just like the banks and Wall Street hedge funds. And another great thing that my investors, my private lenders have found about the long-term cash flow program is that we don't have to get distracted by any of these high-risk, flipping, short-term, too good to be true, get-rich-quick schemes. Like the ones that you see on all those house flipping shows on TV. Okay, so here's how to best understand the home matchmaker method difference. First, there are 5 main problems to solve in any real estate deal. And it's important to understand there's a big difference between buying a property and buying a deal, right? Anybody, as you can probably imagine, can go buy a property, but it takes specialized knowledge and skill inside of a proven process to first find and then to really buy a deal, okay? And that's what we are really best at here inside of the Creative Investing Club. Okay, so private lending really works best when you naturally buy a deal. And in fact, there are 5 unique problems that you need to solve in order to make it all work. You can see those 5 problems here on the screen. The first problem is who has the deal, right? You need to have that system, that front-end acquisition system in place like we do in order to go get that deal at the right math so that everybody can maximize their returns and be safe and secure in the process. Okay, that's problem 1. Problem 2 is who has the buyer, right? There's a whole nother process involved to go out and find the buyer that you want to put into a property that you're going to own for years to come, okay? And then problem number 3, who has the expertise? Problem number 4, who has the time? And then problem number 5, who has the money? Now, private lending works incredibly well when those 5 problems are solved. Now, my job is to solve the first 4 problems. Our private lender's job is to solve the money problem. Now, when it comes to private lending and serving our clients, our mantra is this: you can get everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want. Okay, this is what we focus on every day in our business, and specifically, we're focused on helping 3 key people involved in the home matchmaker method get what they want. Okay, and here's what that looks like. The first person we're really focused on helping is going to be you, the private lender. Okay, and what do private lenders typically want? They want safety, they want security, they want long-term cash flow, they want tax benefits, they want higher rates of return, and they want capital growth. At least that's been the experience that we've had working with our private lenders. Okay. The second person we're focused on helping is the seller. Okay, what do sellers typically want? Well, the sellers we work with typically want fast cash, they want a fast close, they don't want any rehab requirements, they don't want to have to touch the property before they sell it, they don't want any hassle, and they want it to be hands-off, right? And then the third person we're really focused on helping is our buyer. And what do our buyers typically want? They want to own their dream home, and they really want to avoid the hassle with banks. Okay, so my job is to leverage the time and the expertise of our team to find the deal, to find the buyer, to find the private lender, and then to help the private lender open a self-directed IRA account, if that's required, or just answer their money management questions in general. And then after that, work with the title company and real estate lawyers to make sure that the money and the paperwork is in place so that everyone is protected and gets what they want. And you know what? When that happens, our company gets what we want too. Okay, so hopefully now you can see that with the home matchmaker method, everybody wins in the exact way they want to win that's best for them. And that's the answer to the question, how is our private lending predictable cash flow program, how is it unique? And how is it better than anything else you've probably seen? Okay, now, if you've got questions around what I shared, please feel free to email me back, or you've got my cell phone hopefully by now, send me a text to my personal cell. I'd love to talk more about it with you. Now, before I let you go, I'd like to share another quick case study with you of a deal that we did with one of our private lenders. Okay, so here's a picture of the single family home that we purchased using money from our private lender. I'll show you the math in a minute, but first I want to remind you of our core belief as a company. Okay, so let me remind you here, our core belief is that we feel that a person who's paying $1,000 a month to rent would rather pay $1,000 a month to buy. And so because of that core belief, we've engineered the entire front-end acquisition process inside of our business to make sure we're buying deals at a big enough discount where the math works to not only provide safety and security to you, the private lender, to not only help you and our company maximize our returns, but also to get the right buyer into the property who's going to realize that they are paying the same amount a month to own this home, to be in the home ownership position with us, as they would be if they were renting. And how does that help us outside of maximizing our returns? Well, how it really helps us is if and when the market ever went into a little bit of a downturn, which we all know that real estate is cyclical, if it ever went into a downturn, our properties are going to be well protected. So if you put yourself in the shoes of the buyer, right, and maybe money's getting tight in the budget, you got to make that house payment, chances are slim to none that you're going to think about leaving this property that you have home ownership position in to do what? To go rent a place for the same price and maybe even more? Logically that doesn't make sense. Okay, so let's look at what's in it for my private lender on this particular deal. You can see here the investment was $55,000. The after repair value is $125,000, which puts the loan to value at 44%. Again, as a reminder, we don't go above 75%. You can see our private lender is protected by that first lien new mortgage. This is a 36-month term, rate of returns at 10%, and then the monthly interest income you can see there, which is bringing in $5,500 a year for our private lender. Again, these are worst case scenarios because we're not factoring in those bonus points that are getting paid out to our private lenders when they make a 3-year commitment and when that money gets turned on average every 7 months. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. Here's what I want you to do next if you're ready. There should be a button somewhere around this video where you can book a one-on-one strategy call with me to get all your questions answered and to see if private lending is a good fit for your investing goals. Now, if it is, we can then discuss putting you into our queue so that your position is close to the front of the line as possible for when our next private lending opportunity becomes available. And I'll even tell you on our call how to jump straight to the front of the line if you are someone who wants to go fast, all right? And again, my personal cell should be somewhere around this video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Texting is always best for me with the volume of calls I get, but definitely feel free to call if that's preferred for you. All right, thanks for your trust. I don't take it for granted, and I'll see you in the next video. To freedom.